operation in the valley. His name was Wayne, I can't think of his last name, but she used to buy boxes of prunes and give them to everybody too.
For me, I gotta eat them up and put them up.
And I don't think that went over very well with a lot of people, but I liked it too.
Good.
Yeah.
Greg's grandfather used to sell cherries on the street in Portland. Pick up down and actually, that's how they marketed some of their cherries.
And their peaches and apricots.
And peaches and apricots, yeah.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, that was probably before Greg's.
My granddad.
Oh, your grandpa? Yeah, Dick Rankin.
Yeah.
Oh, your grandpa?
Yeah. If you ever been out to my place, there's a big white building. That was the packing, we called it the packing house because that's what they did. We had a line in there and they would pack the fruit, they'd pick it and pack it, and then at night Grandpa would drive it down the old highway. And he'd take it to some of the grocery stores down there. And then he'd come back and he'd sleep during the day and they'd pick and pack the next, and that's what they did. And they had all kinds, cherries, they had pie cherries, prunes, peaches, apricots, all that stuff.
Okay, we'll call this meeting of the Northern Wasco PUD to order. Comment period.
We received no public comment, external to the organization. Don't see anybody in the room.
Okay, requests for additions and deletions to the agenda. Are there any? Seeing none. Old business. Consideration and adoption of wildfire mitigation plan. Is there a motion to accept?
Did it change from what we saw last time? I didn't notice any changes.
There were just minor revisions, just on language, some clarifications were added based on internal discussions after the fact, but nothing substantial at all.
And there was a background memo in the board packet to highlight those with the recommendation to adopt.
So is there a motion among the board to do that?
So I would move to adopt, resolution 19-2021.
Is there a second? We have a second from Director Gonzer. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed unanimously. Consented.
Excuse me,
Yes.
can I make a comment? I thought that read really, really well, and so it's nice just to sit back and read it again with the minor changes you had in it, and it just flowed, and it made a lot of sense, and it's very relevant.
Thank you.
Okay, consent agenda. Is there a motion to accept?
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
A second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passed unanimously.
Can we go home now? That's pretty quick.
You're running a good pace.
Okay, second quarter report presentation.
We'll keep it brief in the interest of time. Second quarter of 2021, all performance indicators are well within their target and or highlighted in the background memo. There's a couple math issues with some of our reliability statistics, but everything is very positive. Financial, safety, workforce, everything continues to move as per our plans and has been communicated to the board. So barring any specific questions, Q2 was good and we're expecting the same out of Q3. So thank you very much. And I should note that Director Howe is also connected to us. I believe he's outside of the service area, but is here and on the phone.
Okay,
So I'm trying to look up, there were a couple that were in the red. I can't remember what they were. Do you remember what they were, Roger?
I believe it was our capacity factor and whichever the one right next to it is on the dashboard. But they were.
I'm looking right here.
Yeah, it's
I'm trying to
mostly
get there.
it's just kind of the math associated with the system, and nothing was egregious or due to any sort of fault or failure.
Okay.
okay, is there a motion to accept?
Not even sure if we need one.
Oh,
We don't use them.
okay.
It's just a presentation.
Okay, convene as a contract review board.
Kurt's gonna come up and check in with us.
You have a memo explaining the process that the Power Resources Division engaged in to review proposals to provide scheduling agent services to Northern Wasco County PUD. The background for us doing that, and we talked in the last meeting about that RFP. We were originally looking at some fairly significant prices that or costs on an annual basis that would have necessitated a full formal RFP process and selection through contract review board. As we interviewed the parties that made these proposals, we were able to focus in on services that really add the most value, and some of them we determined really weren't necessary, the higher cost services that were being proposed. So we ended up scoring them on a value basis. So the services that we needed, we looked at the proposals relative to how well they would provide the tasks that we had asked people to propose. And that's on the Exhibit 2 of the memo. We developed a quality score, a quality point score, and then divide that by the cost per month and multiply it by a constant to come up with a value function score. There were 4 proposals submitted, and then we compare those to the BPA baseline, which is the way we currently conduct power scheduling, and we've done that for over 10 years now. Entity 2 is the recommendation that we begin negotiations with that entity to provide these services, and assuming we can get a contract established with Entity 2, then we would get that in place beginning with services starting October 1st. And the budget impact for these services is approximately $64,000 per year. And that is an expense that goes into account 557. And 557, a large portion of those expenses are recovered through our district delivery rate. So we have a resolution for you to consider that would adopt the recommendations in this memo, and subject to final review by the district general counsel and general manager, we would enter into a contract for scheduling agent services beginning with Entity 2 as the prime candidate. Questions?
So Kurt, I kind of lost what you just said at the end. What'd you say? With respect to which entity?
Yeah, Entity 2, which is in the table at the back, they provide the highest value, that is the highest quality point score per dollar per month expended. So we would begin our negotiations with that party.
So when you use the term begin, are you assuming that are you asking the board to authorize the management to enter into an agreement with any one of these 4? If you can't get your best one, you go to the next one, then to the third one, then to the fourth one?
We will get a contract with Entity 2 unless something goes.
Would you accept an amendment to the resolution which specifies that because you say agents as opposed to the specific party that you're asking the authority to enter into contract negotiation?
Okay. Yeah, I believe that would be fine.
Mr. Chair, I would suggest that the board identify through entity number 2, which I think is what Kurt indicated is who their preference is, that be specified in the resolution in the last paragraph, be resolved authorizes the staff to enter into negotiations with entity two, described
contract.
in the document submitted by management. I think Kathy can probably put that together, but I think the resolution needs to be specific as to who it is you're authorizing them to negotiate with, and it's a little unclear.
Do I need to name that party?
Well, I don't know why you wouldn't, I guess that's my point, is
Well-
there some kind of a confidentiality issue at this point?
Yeah, all of these, people who submitted proposals, asked for confidentiality regarding their proposal. Now, I'll tell you right now, entity two is Portland General Electric. And, they, have an interest. All of them were highly qualified to provide this service. My dilemma was, if I don't have a contract to bring in that's ready to sign, then we'll have to conclude the negotiations and get that signed, entered into.
I don't think there's anything, as a public body in a public meeting, entering into a public resolution, I think it should name the entity unless
Okay.
there's some reason not to. And at this point, I don't see any reason not to.
Okay,
So I think it should specifically name that, instead of with these agents, with PGE.
Portland General Electric, yes.
We don't expect their price to change now, so it's fine. We'll get through it.
Okay,
So I think the board needs a motion to approve the amendment before it approves the resolution.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the amendment?
I would make a motion to approve the.
Second, any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Okay.
Now the
Amendment is-
resolution as amended.
Yep, and now is there a motion to accept the resolution as amended?
I move to, accept resolution 18/2021 as amended.
Is there a second?
Okay.
Discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Kurt. Board, I really appreciate that. If you recall, last month's presentation from Power Resources Division talked about just the change in the amount of scheduling services that we've been providing in-house, the needs to continue, that's going to continue to grow as loads increase, that workload and the risk associated with continues. It would be nice to outsource a bit of that risk and a bit of that work, and shape us for future growth as well. So thank you very much for supporting that recommendation.
Okay. New business, vegetation management.
Just by way of introduction, this is Dave Taphouse. He's our utility arborist. He's part of the operations department, reporting to Edward Tagan, who's also here. And Dave's gonna tell us a little bit about what they've been up to.
Yes, I manage the vegetation program here at North Wasco County PUD, and I am ISA certified utility arborist. And this is Gene Mortensen. He's a foreman of the tree crew from Trees Inc. He's also an ISA certified arborist, utility specialist, and does great work out there. I'd just like to share a quick overview of the vegetation program and what the program does, and answer any questions that you might have. Can you hear me from the map? Okay. First off, our vegetation program is based on a 4-year pruning cycle. What that means is we schedule an area to prune, and ideally 4 years later, return to that area and prune again to maintain our clearance. Unfortunately, that doesn't always happen just because of things happening, circumstances, such as dead trees, fast-growing trees, and the like. So, let's see, sorry. Fortunately, with the native trees we have around here, once we do the pruning, they hold their distance just because of the slow-growing nature of the pine and oak and such. The ones that we have issues with is locust, maple, things like that, that just really grow fast. So we have to revisit them at least once a year. And, let's see, of course, any emergency involving a tree issue, we have Gene here, and the tree crew will definitely take care of the problem if anything arises, and they do it in a safe manner. We've never had any big issues with the tree crew. They are very good, safe organization over there. And Gene himself has 35 years of service working in this industry, so we have plenty of knowledge and experience in it. And we're very lucky to have him working here with us. So we document the work that's being done by the tree crew with service orders, and the service order is created by a customer calling in with a tree concern or me scheduling an area to be trimmed. And once I have inspected the area and established what work needs to be performed, I will contact the customer and explain to them what tree is going to be involved and exactly what kind of pruning is going to be taking place. And once that's done, I make a service order for the property and I give it to Gene. And once Gene gets the service order, he will go out, do the work on the property, look at whatever work is performed, he'll make a note on it on the service order, return it to me, and I will then bring it back to the PUD, close out the service order, make any notes on there what's done, and then I inspect the area to make sure all the work is completed first. And then once that is completed, I take the service order back to the PUD, close it out in the Flex program, and then enter the information on the Catalyst map system that we have, and it shows all the line mollies that have been cleared for that day. And I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. Presentation, so great.
It's part of the fun, Dave. You're doing great.
I'm getting over it here real quick. Pretty soon he's coming. So anyway.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
If I may, Dave. So you said customers will call in for
Yeah.
the trees. How often do you get those kinds of calls, do you think?
Usually the calls come in, it just depends, like springtime, when everything's growing fast and starting to grow, we really get them in, 2, 3 a day sometimes. And usually that comes to customer service and they relay it back to me.
So we're talking from the pole to the house as opposed to the distribution lines going down the right of way?
Everything,
Both of those?
yeah,
Okay.
and transmission and everything. So usually a customer, like, when they're calling in, it's usually something with their service order or their service line coming from the transformer down to their house. Not all the time, but, or a communication line, it could be anything. You go out there and have to look at it and then you have to talk to the people. So we always try to get back to them within a reasonable amount of time, I try to do it within a day, but sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes it's like a week, but usually as soon as we can get out there to do it, we'll do it. And especially if it's an emergency, we'll go out there and check it, for sure.
Jim, sometimes it's the line running down the road that some nosy director sees and calls Roger and says,
I have that.
hey.
I have that in my picture. Those are real those. So, anyway. Let's see. Right here, I have a. Name it up here.
Like that works.
Is it on?
Yeah, now it is.
There it is.
The green, as you can see right here, that is either, what it is this first year or this current year vegetation has been trimmed in our system. And then the yellow is last year's vegetation, and the red is 2 years or older. It could be 2, 3 years, whatever. If we remove a tree, we're not going back to that area, but it'll still continue to be in red there. And this here shows a combination of all the green, the yellow, the red. So if you click to the map on our Catalyst system, that's what you look. If you go to the layer or the tool section and click on the layers, you can click on either the current year, previous year, or 2 years or older, and this will come up. So anybody with access to that can check it out. Good way to keep track of all the trimming that's going on in our system. And with regard to fire mitigation, we communicate or concentrate on trimming the rural and cross-country areas as soon as the fire danger is passed for the year. That's usually late fall, winter months, and early spring. We take fire danger very seriously and believe doing our cross-country trimming when it's safe, along with a normal cycle pruning, helps prevent any fires from starting. If one should happen to ignite, though, we do take preventive measures to save some of the more vulnerable structures in our system. We hired a contractor last September to weed eat a 10-foot radius, 20 diameter circle around some of our distribution and transmission poles. He then treated the area with chemicals to prevent the weeds from growing back. This way, all fuel should be clear of the structure and hopefully prevent a full fire from happening. And for the next 3 to 4 years after treatment. That's what we're shooting for, at least 2 years, but shooting for 3 to 4 years. And money well spent. This work has been completed around all the structures on our 69 kV transmission line from 3 Mile Substation to Ty Valley Substation, and our 115 kV line from Super Substation to the BPA Big Eddy Substation that are susceptible to wildfires. We also had the contractor do this on the distribution line out on Old Moody Road because that line is almost all cross country and very limited on road access, so we decided to invest in that to prevent a fire if we can. And with the project completed, a total of 465 transmission poles and 97 distribution poles have been treated. Doing this will help keep our system intact and operational during fire season, and here are some examples of that work. This is up on Ty Ridge, our 69 kV line out on Ty Valley, and you can see, around here, that's all bare ground. This also is bare ground. These are just old poles that they cut off and replaced, left in the ground. This is a before and after shot. This is just sagebrush, as you can see. This is an old pole that he found once he weed eated, and he cleared those poles out of the way to make that 10-foot radius, so we got clearance. We don't have to worry about anyone in there burning. And here's the before and after, also. Before and after. Good clearance, nothing's going to burn in there.
It's a little bit of a difference.
A big difference. And this is out in fire country.
Didn't some of those get burned up too, 2 years ago when that went through there?
They were right next to the road, actually.
Yeah, they were. I remember going through there and
Yeah.
seeing that they were burned right up to those poles.
Yeah, and, yeah, they burn up to the poles. This is definitely gonna save some poles. But that's a big area here, and that's a 3-pole structure, and it's a lot of area. This is a super substation line, going from super substation over to Big Eddy, and when he was doing this, he cleared and found this structure here. It broke off a cross arm up here, cross section, 8 structures. And so he reported to me, I reported it, and then Ed got that fixed from our crew. But he inspects everything too as he's going out doing this. Reporting that. And, that's it, I'm sorry. I'll wait for that one. We have a contractor to spray our substations and weed control every year. There's also certain structures and areas that we have him spray to provide easy access for our crews to enter, usually around switch poles or around meters or transformers, wherever there's a need. And now I'd like to show you a little collection of pictures of some of the work that's been completed by our tree crew, along with a short video at the end that you might find. That's there. This is Rowena. This is actually just out in the roadie where the houses are. There's a dead top right here. We took that out. The tree is actually surviving, and this is done like last year, so whatever killed it, bugs probably, but the tree itself did not die. It would have broke off in the door line. And this, you can see our climber right there. This is down by Tule Lake, Tule Terrace, in that area. There's a dead snag right here. It's been up in our line. He climbed up, pieced it out, and you can see Gene in the ground up there. They're taking well. And this here is just a dead snake that we took down. I think it was the first year Trees Inc. was here. This was out there by Lone Pine, where the fire burned through this year. But this was before this. And that tree is huge. That's probably 100-foot tree easy.
He's up there a long way.
Yeah, that, actually at the time, that guy, his name is Dusty Harold, he was our, apprentice. So he was getting close. Yeah, he was doing very well. Okay, this is our 8-mile substation. There's an oak tree right there by Energy Sub, down in that area across the creek, and that is actually Gene up there taking that down. It was up in our, you can see a lot of, guy wires and everything. These are that are actually 69 feet like there. These are guy wires. And that tree was up in it, so we just took care of that problem. And this is 3-mile, just past the 3-mile substation. Another oak tree that was taken out. This oak tree is actually just right here. We took it down, got it out of the way. That was causing issues. It was actually real close to our line, and they were just showing up on the meters, I believe, a couple years ago. And this is Gene right there. He's site pruning, right above 3-mile substation, a poplar tree going over to the orchards. And this is a tree that caused an outage out in Wamek, I think it was this spring. And you can see this cavity right here. This is missing a part that is as big as this tree right here, because this is where that cavity is. It had broke off. It was a codominant pine tree that wind got it and broke out, went across the lines, you know. So what we did was, since it weakened the tree, this is that same tree. We limbed it up, topped it out. There it is going down. Anyway, eventually that whole thing came down, so no more issue. This is down on Steel Road, going out towards the dump. Just opened up our service line. You can see our line going here. That's what it was, so they cleared it up real well. This is out on Wicks Reservoir. They took all that overhang out. Eventually that tree came down, but we didn't know at the time we wanted it down, so what we did was Matt was up there taking all this overhang out. And that's a lot of rope work and a lot of rigging, and they did a good job on that. And then we took the tree out. And the tie plant, if you've ever driven by the tie plant, you can see all that stuff, the cottonwoods and whatnot, retinol and nasty those plates. We got that new line going through that was put in last year or 2 years ago. We're just up there cycling, clearing it out. This here is just a dead snake up on Mill Creek, dead pine. Pieced it out, got it, made it safe, not an issue anymore. It's hard to see, but I wanted to show you this because this is some of the work that was done in a hard to get to place out on Moody Road. Right above, is a plateau right above, Slidell Bridge out there. And this is a dead poplar that got burned in the fire a few years back. And you can see our boom truck right here. It couldn't reach the top. So what they did was, you can't really see it, but there's a line in this thing right here, going down to a truck that's like down in here, and they had a winch on it. They had the boom truck, made a back set, pulled it over, and that was the end of it, and then took the whole thing down, so it's not an issue anymore. This is behind St. Mary's School, and they had all those dead pine trees that were taken out. This was a big one leaning right down toward our 3-phase. G and company, when they had hooked up their winch to it, back cut, pulled it over, not an issue, everything was safe, and put it right where they wanted. This was out on Skyline, our 115 line. This dead snag is now that one there. There was actually 2 there, but took them down, no issue. We try to take care of all the pine trees that are dead and dying before they actually die out. It's a lot easier to take care of them. If you know they're gonna die, you can see it, you know. If they're dead, they can last maybe 2 years, 3 years, and then the top will break out and you have issues. So if you get them before that 2-year period, it's a lot better, a lot safer. This is just another snake on Orchard Road. We have about 5 of them in that area, took them down. This here is on Knob Hill. This overhang right here is actually right here now. We dropped the line, dropped that overhang out, and put the line back up. You know, it took about an hour and a half but it saved a lot of work, dropping the line. It was burning pretty good up there. And this here is in Fully Lakes, and we had an issue with this poplar. It was actually, our boom truck would reach to that area right there. We just couldn't get up close to it because of fencing and housing and whatnot right in that area. So we had to get Magnum power and a 100-foot boom truck and Gene and an operator right there, just piecing that down. And you can see that's the end result. We got it down below the line, no more issue, but it was just a dead poplar. You had to piece it down. Couldn't just drop it because there's no place to put it. And that stuff shatters every time you cut anything, it just breaks. And this is Director Johnson's tree.
Not mine. Not mine. I wouldn't plant trees like that.
Well, I did talk to the orchardist, it's a willow tree.
Yeah.
And it's right next to the road. The gentleman, the orchardist who planted it did not realize there was power lines there. Offered to take them out. Offered to take them out, and he said, no, he wants them for windbreak, so we'll see him again next year. We'll see him again next year.
They've been in there for a few years, so they cut them back pretty good.
Yeah, we trimmed it down below the communications, but they grow like a weed.
They do.
And
Who said that?
and this is the video. This is what a tree happens to a tree when it contacts a 115 kV line. Side opening. Here you go.
Okay, I gotta ask, who did the video?
That was YouTube.
The neighbor probably.
Really?
That's not our line.
I was gonna say, you wanna move that car?
Been there, done that.
There you go. So that's what happens when you don't trim your trees.
That happened at my.
I think the biggest trees in the
I didn't
valley,
see it
probably
happen,
from the
but the tree
library,
burned up. I had
east
fire
of
out
Kelly, or
last
east of
summer.
Kelly Avenue, those
Oh,
sycamores.
the sycamore?
Right
Yeah.
underneath the 12,000.
Do you have problems with those?
We don't have too many sycamores that we have. There's some, but we did trim that one in the.
Their limbs are like.
Yeah, they're deep.
The trees tend to be in the front yard, and the lines are, that tend to be in the alley though, right?
Yeah, sometimes, most of the time,
But there are lines there where you have lights,
yeah.
light poles only, that
Yeah.
you're taking the energy to.
And with that sycamore, it was, I think it was a first cleanup volunteer day. Is that where?
One of the library, the very first one.
Yeah, that's the one we trimmed down that. These guys, Gene was involved with that too. Pulled our truck up there and got it around, just trimming on the bottom limbs, but outside those sycamores are.
They're hugely dense and
Yeah.
really heavy. And the other question I have is, you have a certification as a utility arborist.
Yeah.
Has that been a positive thing for you?
Oh, yeah.
You think in doing this, and how?
Yeah, just the fact that, you know, you gotta study for it and you learn a lot about what goes on with the trees, you know, and how they grow, how to cut them to grow a certain way, and explain that to the customer. It's big, because some customers are, I don't know how you say it, they're
Obstinate.
fond of
They're fond of their trees.
They're not like me. Cut the dang thing to the ground.
I mean, I'll go up there and talk to them about, going to do this cut, and then all of a sudden it starts getting cut, and then Gene's on the front line. Don't call me unless he handles it. He handles a lot of them, because he's done this before, you know, I don't know if you want to say anything on that.
With the knowledge of getting ISA certification, and gives you the tools to educate the customer when they're having concern.
Yeah, and that guy goes a long way. If you know what you're talking about.
So you cut down less trees and maybe you might, without being able to look at them from a perspective of other ways to deal with the problem.
Yeah, you can definitely work with the customer. We try to work with the customer. If they want them out, we'll take them out.
Sure.
If they don't want them out, then it depends what kind of tree it is too. If it's a fast grower, then we're gonna, tell them, hey, I got permission now through Ed also. I don't know if Jeff knows about it or not, but this is before Jeff got here. But, we'll offer bushes or something like that, take down. There's this one customer right now, we have to go revisit again because they're poplar trees, those poplar trees? They grow like a weed. They got 5 of them planted right underneath a line in their yard to shield their neighbor. Right? They grow 10 feet a year. The line's, I don't know, 10 feet from the ground. 10 feet from the tree, so we're back there every year. And we wanted to take those out, offer them some arborvitaes or something to put in there instead, which would be a good deal. She hasn't done it yet, but she might be open to it. But things like that. You always try to work with the customer. Most of the time you can, sometimes you can't. We had a guy on trailer. It's gonna be very hard working with him. I think it runs your house. No. No. Roger.
Wait for him to chime in.
This question earlier that what happens with the wood, like the trees that get dropped? That's a customer option, right?
Yep.
If they want to keep it, or if the Wasco guy comes to get it.
Yep. And I got a thing with Luciano now. Luciano will, if we get the tree down on the ground, they'll talk with the customer. I always have them talk to Luciano, because Luciano will come and take all the brush away. Because if it's a dead tree, we don't want to chip that wood. It's really hard on the equipment, and the tree itself is usually clear from the line, but it's dead now. So we got to get on the ground, and Luciano will come up with the pine. He likes the blue pine because when the beetle kills it, they call it blue. What do they call it? Blue pine. It just makes a blue tint to it, and it's very popular on making slabs and whatnot. So Luciano will come get that, clean up the brush, everybody's happy. Otherwise, we'll have Wasco County wood, what's it called? It's low-income wood people. They'll come down, or they'll come up and pick up the wood for free. Give them a tax break if they want to write something off on it or something, But, yeah. There's ways to get rid of the wood. Most of the customers don't want to mess with it. Some do, some don't. We'll chip what we can.
Gentlemen, we're very proud of the program that you manage and execute on behalf of the district. It's night and day different than what it was historically, and you continue to find ways to improve it. And so for me and the board, thank you very much. It's excellent. Well, very, very proud.
And it really helps, not only you being here and talking about this, both of you, but it helps when you have the videos.
Oh, yeah, because then
That makes a huge difference, because you can prove what you're doing, show what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
doing as per.
that's just part of, we've done, there's a lot. Look on the map, you'll see all the stuff we've done. It's like, there's a lot. We're busy all the time.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, as a board member,
Yeah.
I like to see the videos, because those are great.
Yeah.
And Gene, please share it with your crew as well.
For sure.
I try to pull over and harass them when I see them too, but yeah, it's good stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We liked your shirts.
This was not planned.
I think you should have sent the memo out to everybody, though. Okay, Cindy?
Oh, this item.
This item, the one that took twice as long as it should have.
Trees.
Okay, so I'm assuming you've had a chance to read the resolution, to read the memo. There's one thing that I don't think I made clear in the memo, just to make sure that you're all aware of this. It's absolutely no reason to halt or delay going forward. But when we move our 401K to the NRECA becomes the trustee for the plan. So there will no longer be a board of trustees here at the PUD for the 401K plan. It will still be in place for the 457B until we figure out where that one's going to land. But I didn't actually put that in the memo, but I wanted to make sure that everybody understood. We are truly handing it off to the NRECA and their board of trustees.
That's a benefit from the general manager's perspective.
Yes, for lower rates. and for a lower cost than at Nationwide, so it's all good. So I'm here today to ask the board to pass the resolution, which allows me to move forward with moving that plan. Part of the reason I needed to make sure you understood the trustee issue is that as the HR benefit administrator at NRECA for the PUD, you are authorizing that person to sign the plan amendment, to sign the plan documents, to sign the merger documents. That doesn't have to come back to you again once this is done. Right now, that administrator is me. Moving forward, we will probably add Kara so that there's always someone available if somebody needs some assistance with their benefits of any kind.
Which that's typical of an HR function in any organization.
When you have more than one person, yeah. It's kind of nice.
Okay, is there a motion to accept resolution 20-2021?
Mr. President, I would move that we accept resolution 20-2021 in the matter of merging Wasco County People's Utility District's 401K plan with the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association's 401K plan, effective October 1, 2021.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Pass unanimously.
Fantastic. Then I will tell you also that I actually sent Nationwide the paperwork last week because we have to give them 60 days notice. So we are scheduled to move it with Nationwide and NRECA on October 1.
Good thing we said yes.
Good thing you said yes.
Man, that was a long time coming. Thank you.
Yes.
Forever.
You have some housekeeping for us, Artie?
We do. Lana Egbert, Finance Supervisor, is on the line. She'll walk you through it. Just with some staffing changes, who also happen to be signatories on our 3 bank accounts, one with U.S. Bank, one with Bank of the West, and one with Wells Fargo that we have. With those staffing changes come changes in signatures, and with that, we have to have board approval. So I'll let Lana walk those through. We've got 3 resolutions before you on those right now.
Hey, Lana?
Thank you. As Harvey mentioned, as we make personnel changes, we do need to make changes to the signators on our bank accounts. With Bank of the West, we have 3 checking accounts.
Thank you.
And I'm asking, the background is we have Paul Titus, Dan Hallworth on all 3 of those checking accounts, and we need to have them removed. And we need to add our new senior financial analyst, Beth Schroeder. So it's something that we cannot do unless we have a board resolution. So the timing of everything, we felt it was best to wait until we had Beth on board so that we could go ahead and remove Paul and Suzanne. So we could also add Beth at the same time. So we only had 1 set of signatures per account. Any questions? So I'd like to ask the board to approve resolution number 21-2021 for Bank of the West to remove Paul Titus and Suzanne Hallworth and add Beth Schroeder.
That number should be different than the one of the resolution that was just passed, correct? Which I think was 2021.
No,
The one we did earlier was number 20.
So you have numbers after here. So mine was 20, this is number 21.
Good,
No,
thank you.
they're different. One's 20 and the other's 21.
Okay, is there a motion to accept this resolution?
I move that we accept this.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Resolution passed unanimously.
Great, thank you very much. The next one is U.S. Bank. We have the one account there, and actually I take that back. I think we have a couple of accounts there. Basically, what we need to do with this, with U.S. Bank, they hold our accounts for the bonds that we have outstanding, and we need to, currently we only have Harvey Hall on the account, and we are recommending that we add myself Lana Egbert and Beth Schroeder as authorized representatives to the U.S. Bank account so we can confirm and communicate and send documentation to the U.S. Bank with regards to our bonds that are outstanding. Any questions with this backgrounder? Okay, I ask that the board approve resolution number 22-2021 for U.S. Bank to add Lana Egbert and Beth Schroeder as authorized representatives to the accounts at U.S. Bank.
Okay, is there a motion from the board?
I would move that we accept resolution 22-2021.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
I'm sorry, Greg moved. and
I
you
moved
seconded.
Johnson Gaza.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you.
Okay, and passed unanimously.
Thank you. And then the last one I have before the board is with regards to Wells Fargo. Again, we need to remove Suzanne Hallworth from the accounts as an authorized signer and add Beth Schroeder in her place. And with Wells Fargo, we have a checking account there to assist with the movement of funds when we look to do short-term investments with Wells Fargo. Any questions on this one? Okay, I ask the board to please approve resolution 23-2021 with Wells Fargo to remove Suzanne Hallworth and add Beth Schroeder to the signature.
Okay, is there a motion for 23-2021?
I move that we do that.
A motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Resolution passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, board reports. Is Roger gonna do a PUD from down south?
Director Howe?
I actually,
Wake up.
I'm awake. I actually, give me 5 minutes and I'll give you your notes. I've got to dig up my notes. Hang on, all right?
Camera on.
Turn your camera on, Roger.
I don't think he has enough bandwidth.
I'm getting it.
Oh, maybe he does.
And this meeting may not even last.
Hmm?
May not
Maybe we don't want to see it.
Yeah. Maybe he's
Well, we
going
saw him
short
earlier.
too.
Look better than Howard's knees.
Happy birthday.
This is serious business here now. All right, for the July 16th one, they were meeting more in person versus the Zoom. That was the Remain group. And the Capitol was open to the public, but because of construction, only the central part was. And in September, they're going to have a special session. They're planning to bring legislators to the PUD meetings in the fall, and hopefully that will work this time with mask mandates. Who knows what's going to happen? From the BPA group, they still had no travel to facilities, which is pretty frustrating. And they had a 2.5 decrease in rates, 6.8% increase in transmission rates. And we all know about the heat wave right towards the end of June. But the power supply handled it very well. They were very, very happy. And they had very, very good secondary sales in California. The boot fire was a big impact. They had a lot of lines down, and that also affected California and Nevada, but mostly. Implication on the intertie, Upshot they actually had to start spilling water from the Grand Coulee, which was amazing. These are probably old numbers now, but the BPA had an 84 mass, which was a week old. It's probably lower than that now. And I think that's about the size of it, unless you have any questions.
I don't see any questions. Thank you, Director Howe.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's for you.
Okay, future meetings.
We actually,
You already did that.
So that's taken care of. Any miscellaneous information?
I would like to share one thing while we're on the public record, and I'll forward it to you likely this evening. There's in light of Washington Senator Cantwell's motion to get into legislation, the increase to the Bonneville Power Administration's borrowing authority, the potential $10 billion increase to borrowing authority. There's a group calling themselves the Northwest Resource Accountability Project. Roger Klein's spin on this is if you follow it back far enough, I'm sure you'll find a dam buster or three in there. But people are having this group is touting the failure of Bonneville, et cetera, the standard talking points when anything positive is happening for public power in the federal system. So I'll forward you around PPC's kind of fact sheet with that, but I think it's important that we go on the record saying that we're going to continue to support Bonneville, public power in the region, the federal system, and aren't going to listen to some of these, I'll use a Roger Klein word again, wackos on when they come a-calling, because apparently they're also coming around to the public power bodies to try to get our support.
Have any approached us yet?
Not yet, but I welcome the call. So,
I think your term was very appropriate.
thank you.
Okay, and at that point, I think we will adjourn the meeting.
that's a record. Whoa. That is, I don't think I've heard it. The last almost 10 years. You thought you held the record.
Did I beat you from the other?
Yeah, another 3 hours.
51, only because I.
So, hey, Kathy.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
On this, I will gladly date our record for you. Should be 22nd, 23rd.